Thank you for the introduction, Toastmaster Mohammed. Moonlight is romantic. It's beautiful, isn't it? We love the moon. I know you love the moon. But do we always want to see it? That depends. Maybe there are times we can do without the bright, shining moonlight. At least during the Perseids. What? Is that English? Even my evaluator was like, what did you say? Yes, I said the Perseids. During my speech today, I will do 3 things. Number 1, I will explain what the Perseids are. Number 2, I'll explain where they come from. And number 3, I will explain how to see them. Before I continue, I want to explain why I chose to speak on this topic. It's because I actually just saw the Perseids this past weekend, and I wanted to share a little bit about my experience and what I've learned along the way. So, number 1, what are the Perseids? The Perseid meteor shower is considered the best meteor shower of the year. It's the most dramatic, stunning, active thing you can see in the night sky in the months of July and August in the northern hemisphere. That is the area above the equator. So where I'm at in California, above the equator, and also where most of you guys are at, I think almost all of you, are in Saudi. So again, that's above the equator in the northern hemisphere. We can all see this. But why is it such a beautiful thing? Why is it considered the best meteor shower of the year? For 2 reasons. Number 1, it has a high hourly rate of meteors that you can see. All of these shooting stars. In perfect conditions, you can see up to 100 shooting stars. And number 2, it's also a highlight that we like to look at because of the bright, the clearly visible, fast shooting stars, those meteors that we see. The Perseid meteor shower. It is named after the constellation of Perseids. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with constellations. I actually just learned over the weekend what the Big Dipper looks like. So maybe you can figure that out on your own. But yes, the Perseids is named after the constellation of Perseus. That is one of the constellations in the sky, but not because that's where it comes from. Actually, according to NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, the constellation Perseus is just the area where you see most of those meteors, and that's where they come from. So, what are meteors anyway? Where do they come from? Number 2. Meteors come from leftover comet particles and bits from broken asteroids. These things, these big rocks or stars in space, they come closer to the sun, and the sun is burning, burning bright. And in the end, it kind of has these bits and particles that are that break off, and it leaves this trail of dusty debris. Okay, and as the Earth passes through this debris, some of that rock, I guess we could say, the debris, the bits, they collide with our atmosphere, and instead of us dying or being in any danger, it just disintegrates. And that's when we see in the night sky these bright shooting stars. Okay, they go really nice and fast. They're very beautiful. So that is what a meteor is. They come from that debris as it hits the Earth's atmosphere. All right, and that leads me to number 3. How do we see the Perseids, the Perseid meteor shower? Well, first, let me talk about when you can see them. Earlier, I mentioned that you can see them between the months of July and August in the summer when it's clear, it's not so cold like it is in the winter. So people go out and they see that this night sky is clear and visible. So yeah, July. This year in 2020, the time you can see the Perseids is July 17th until August 24th. So today is August 10th. We have about 2 more weeks. So if you guys were to want to see the Perseids, which I recommend, you have 2 weeks to do that. However, there is a peak time that you can see the Perseids, and that is actually coming up in a few days. So perfect timing for this speech. Today is the 10th. It's a Monday. On Wednesday, okay, on the 12th, between the 12th and the 13th, so at nighttime, that's the peak of the Perseids. So I wanted to explain some or share some tips that I have on how to see them. Clearly, it's something that you see at night. You want to reduce the amount of light pollution around you. So you want to get out of the city. I recommend for you guys heading out to the desert. That's actually where I went. So I drove out from the city where I'm living in San Diego, and we went out about 2 hours, an hour and a half to Joshua Tree. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this area. It's like a national park in California. So in this desert, it's away from civilization, it's quiet, and because there aren't as many people, we just saw when the sky was super dark. There was no light except the stars. According to the American Meteor Society, AMS, it's actually even better to spot some of these meteors when the moon is below the horizon. So I think here in California, the sun sets closer to 8 p.m., but then the sun doesn't actually go away until after like 9 p.m. So for us, I went with my cousins and my brother a few days ago. That was between the hours of 10 to 11 p.m. That's when we saw the moon shining it wasn't shining too much. It was shining just below the horizon so that we didn't have too much moonlight. And that is why I had said that sometimes we don't want to see the bright shining moonlight too much, right? It's a beautiful thing, but when we don't have that moonlight, it's not causing any shadows. We got to focus on the bright sky. So as a recap, today I shared with you what the Perseids are, the best meteor shower you can see all year. Number 2, where they come from. And number 3, how to see them. So I recommend that you get out there. Remember, Wednesday, in 2 days on the 12th, it's the best day. You should go during the peak of the Perseids. It will be a performance to watch. Thank you.